Hi, how's everybody doing today? This is Sean, and I'm here with another video that we're doing to get back into kind of shape here. Although, like I said before, I'm doing this because there's a lot of people that I've talked to on the internet that's disabled, and I myself have had 2 hip replacements, and my back is completely jacked up, and I need to lose weight. Obviously, I was on medicine, it made me gain weight and stuff. So basically where I'm at on this is I'm gonna practice and get back into tennis shape, and I'd like to play in a tournament. Okay, so I've been watching videos with this fellow named Nikolai, and Intuitive Tennis. He's a really good teacher, a very good coach, and a nice human being. And I like his last video that he did. It was pertaining to women's tennis, and they're not getting their fair share of the prize money. And I said this in the 90s when I was playing in tournaments, that there should be a players association for the players, and there should be the top 200 women and top 200 men in the world should be able to get some kind of assistance to play in these tournaments, because I myself used to work jobs to get money to play in the tournaments, and then I've done a lot of reading into this subject. In women, it's a lot harder for women to make the pro tours. So guys have it all backwards. It's easier for guys to make pro tours than it is for the women. A lot of women are, you know, they have to work a job, and then they got to train in between working a job, and then they have to use the money to survive off of and travel and get coaches and all this other stuff. And a lot of people get in debt doing this, you know. So unless you find a coach that really just enjoys doing this and is not trying to get a lot of money off you and stuff, because that's their occupation, you know. So I said that they should take the prize money and all the money that's made from these tournaments and divide it equally for all the players, men and women. I said that a long time ago. And just to get you to know, men's tennis and women's tennis is totally different. I was 17 years old, and I worked at the Oceans Racket Club. It was Clay, and this girl I played, her name was Amanda. I think her last name was Wheeler. She played for the University of Florida and was the 3rd seed. Like, she was the 3rd player on that team, and she was ranked in the country. And her coach decided to have us hit. And this girl, I was just hitting my regular ground strokes, but I used to play with a profile that's a 90. This is a 110. It's really big, and I'm going to try to use this racket so when I get a smaller version of it, because I'm finding out, just not to change the subject, but I'm finding out as I have stepped away from tennis for 25 years that people are still, the tennis rackets haven't changed from the 90s once they went to these graphites. They just got different names for them and stuff like that. But these rackets, especially a profile, you're never going to wear this racket out. It won't bend. I don't care who's hitting on it. I don't care who's using this racket. It'll stay good forever. And these people with all this exotic top spin and all these that's great and that's awesome, but you should be able to develop all different shots, and there's going to be situations where you have to use your different grips. The reason I say that is because equipment like this gives the women a little more chance against big serving guys that are hitting 120 mile, 130 mile an hour serves, where they could use a racket like this that's not maybe a stick to block the ball back and use their pace against the man. So, as I said before, I was literally, and this is clay court I'm playing on, and I was 17. I was just so much stronger than this lady. Like when I was hitting my first serve, this woman was 3 to 4 feet back off the baseline. Okay, to give you an idea, is I have been playing tennis like for a while, but I stepped away from it. But when I used to play, I would never be that far back off the baseline, because one of my strengths at the time was return to serve, and I'd get the ball on the fly as it's coming up. I wouldn't let it come, drop back down. I'd get it as it's coming up and drive it down the courts with like a semi-western eastern grip. With my shots were flat, So I'm changing everything to make my game better. And these suggestions that I had in the 90s would work today, because you need a players association. Okay, it's gotten ridiculous, and guys that talk shit about these women playing tennis. Look, dude, it's hard to play at the level that they're playing at consistently for men or women, but it's harder for them to get in these tournaments than it is for guys. So, you know, look at what you're doing and think about what you're saying, and before you start attacking other groups of people. That's why I'm so against gentlemen playing against women, you know, with the new thing that's going on, because it's a complete advantage. To give you an idea of what's going on with that, is that back in the 70s, when I was a little kid, there was a dude that was transitioned into a lady, and he is in his 40s, okay, and he became a lady, and he sued the Women's Tennis Association, okay, to play in the women's league. Now, this guy was ranked in the top 20 in the world, but when he played in men's tennis, he wasn't even in the top 400. That's what kind of advantage. And this man was in his 40s, you know, 40-year-old person, and almost beat Chris Evert Lloyd, you know. So she'll tell you the story if you ever ask her, or if you see her or whatever. She'll let you know that because of this man's, the way he's built as a human, like a human being's different. Everybody's different. Men and women are different in that aspect. You have natural strength. So we're going to practice today, and since I'm working on my serve, I'm going to cut the court in half, and this big old club that I'm using, I'm going to practice throwing the ball up and getting a groove and hitting with it, and then we're going to go back there and hit. But all these people that hit with topspin or excessive topspin in these tournaments, you're going to see when I get back to my level of playing that it is sometimes a disadvantage to use all that topspin, because if you get a guy or a lady that gets the ball on the fly like that, that's coming up and they can drive it, it'll be flat shots, and your topspin, then you're going to have to be able to come underneath the ball, because the ball will be so flat. Like Connors and McEnroe, that kind of stuff. They just go flat strokes. And whatever works for you, that's how you develop. But I do suggest, I'll show you. See, the racket has 8 squares on it. And this square right here, when you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? When you have your knuckle on the second one, that's called a continental grip, and that's what most people use. All the pros, most people use that to serve. And back in the old school days, they would that's how they brought the racket back and drive that shit. That's why you see the ball barely clearing the net. And then a lot of people have developed an Eastern grip, which is the third one right there. 1, 2, 3, your knuckle would be across that line with the palm of your hand. And I always, like I say, you want to be loose and you want to relax when you're hitting the ball. Just real loose. And when you make striking, you're using your body, not your arm and your wrist. If you try to serve the ball with your arm, you're going to develop a lot of problems with your shoulder, okay? So it's best to use your body to the best of your ability. Now, I'm 51 years old, folks, and I ain't got the flexibility that old Sean had back when he was a youngster, but I still can bend my legs a little bit, and that's where your power comes in. And that's why I say men are different. It's a different style of play, but I enjoy watching women tennis. It's amazing. You know, some of my favorite players in tennis are women. I love watching Martina Navratilova. She was an amazing player. And Steffi Graf and Monica Seles and those types of players, and even Serena Williams and her sister Venus. They're fun to watch. And, you know, I grew up in Florida, where tennis and golf is a huge thing down here. So, you know, you get to meet a lot of different varieties of people. So, enough talk. Let's get back into this. And I'm just showing you some of the different ways of holding the racket, but we'll get into that later. This thing is a club. I mean, look how thick it is compared to the conventional rackets that are being used today. They use a little bit thinner than this. It's a mid-size or whatever. But if you're an older person and you're playing doubles, a racket like this is perfect to play doubles with, because you're volleying and it doesn't bend. It's for flat shots. So let's take a look at what's going on. We're going to get in hitting some balls here and see what we can do. You're in a lot of pain though, I have to admit. But I'm going to get through this. And I might as well just go ahead and bring the balls over here for a minute. It's got to be 100 degrees out here, folks, and it's like 8 o'clock at night, and I got the lights on. I've had to be coming out here at nighttime. Now, what I was saying before with that Continental grip is that people are aiming the ball like they're trying to aim in that court over here, and you really want to aim over here. And when you spin the ball, just the toss on it, watch. Hitting over there, and it's going over there. Now this thing's a club, like I said. I just lost something off of it. I think I lost the receiver. No, I didn't even hit the ball, and the damn thing's falling apart. I put my foot down like this. I bounce the ball, and I try to throw it up at 12. Just try to throw it up with 12 and snap my wrist. And on a flat serve, the same thing. Just throw it up, and you want to snap your wrist. You want to be smooth and relaxed. Now, I haven't hit a tennis ball with one of these rackets in years, but like I say, the 95 is what I used to play with. Let's see. Just pasting the line. Good old club here. This old big girl here. Yeah. So I'm probably gonna shorten my swings. I'm gonna shorten my swing because I used to have one of them. Boom, like that. I'm gonna shorten my swing. Bring the ball, bring the racket, and just hit through it. And I stop for a reason, but you want to hit through the ball and use your legs. That's using my arms. Same thing with the serve, as I say. A lot of tricks too. You don't see this on television, folks, but when these guys and ladies hit their serves, there's your racket. They don't hold the whole racket. They kind of hold on the bottom of it a little bit. Give it a little room so they can use the wrist and it'll be flexible. That's what you kind of want. And as I say before in my other videos, practice, you get a feel for the tennis ball. You know, get a feel for it. Get a feel for what's going on with it. You know? Oh man, I used to blast the ball with this thing when I was younger. Woo! Bringing back good memories, folks. Good memories. Bring. I was trying something different with that. And don't let your pride get in the way either. When you're practicing, I'm out here to practice. I'm not out here to show off or take my ass back to the line and not have the right techniques and stuff. So it's good to practice this little game, especially if you got another person. You can practice hitting the ball back and forth. But as I say, you want to get used to how the ball feels off your racket, no matter what racket you're using, you know? And just, the most important thing, and I see all these people talking about this, there's only one guy, like I say, Nikolai, from Intuitive Tennis, that says this. You have to keep your eye on the tennis ball. Now, when I played baseball, my coach used to write numbers on the baseball. They'll pitch it to you and you had to call it out before you hit it. I used to do that with people that would drop their, you know, would look down the court and not keep an eye on their ball. And I used to do that. And when I taught tennis many years ago, I did that. And it helps kids develop eye and hand coordination, and it will help you, okay? And there's other tricks too. You have to get used to running, getting used to being on the court and moving around. So there's exercises you can do. Run backwards, forwards. God, this is killing me, but we used to do that when I played football. So there's things you could do to get your legs to get moving and do things correctly. But it all comes back when you're bringing your tennis racket back. You're putting your foot down, back foot, and and going forwards, no matter what grip you use. Like that's a little extreme for me there. That was almost a Western grip, but just hit through it. Let the racket do the work. Same with, you ever watch Mike Trout hit a baseball? He doesn't muscle the ball, although he's a big, strong man. He lets the bat do the work, but with his technique, the ball travels 500 feet or whatever, you know? The same with a tennis racket. If you're gonna go and spend all this money on a tennis racket, $100, $200 or whatever, and you don't use the racket to do the work for you, you might as well just get a Walmart racket, you know? That's the thing. Ooh, man, it's hot. Oh, good God. That was a bad toss and a bad shot, but it did go in. But because I'm staying here, that's not what I want. I want a 12 o'clock toss. Because of the shoulder, I'm having that problem. Try some ground strokes. This is a big club, like I say. This tennis racket's a big one, so taking some time to get used to with this wide body racket and the size of it. Down the middle of the tee there. That was good. I expect the ball to come back. So I'm going to hit it back in the middle of the court where I could get a feel on it. That was right in. Your old granny here. And as I say, I learned how to play old school, so I'm learning, getting back into all this spin and stuff, but fundamentals. Off the frame. I got a two-handed backhand. When I practice my two-handed backhand, I'll practice, that was a bad shot, but I'll practice hitting through it with my one hand. Like that. And as I say, you want to step back and then hit through it. Bring your racket back with both arms. I didn't do that time, but I also didn't have the Eastern grip that I needed to hit through it, but practice and catching on to what you're doing wrong. So I also use my left hand to practice my two-hander. And I can hit left-handed, I just had to learn how to play right-handed because I had my hand reconstructed. So I've had some surgeries, folks. Trying my best. That's all I can do. And I don't have no coaching, like, except for the ones on video, like I say. So, actually that shot, that would have been something I normally hit with the smaller racket, because I like going down the line a lot, especially when you hit flat, and slicing too. With the two-handed backhand I have, when I hit through it, so it'll come like this, ball coming, come like that, and I hit through it. I can also, at the last second, take my hand off the ball and slice it. That was a good slice that went over. It's not what you want. It's not good. It's not a good shot. How you doing, sir?
How you doing?
Oh, not bad. Thank you for asking. One other thing I wanted to mention is a lot of people talk about height and they're like, well, I'm only 5'6", or this guy's 6'5" or whatever. With technique, it doesn't matter how tall you are, okay? I'm 5'7", and you see me, you jump, just by hitting the ball naturally, you're gonna leave the ground, okay? I watch 70-year-old people out here crack a ball. And of course, it's raining in Florida. So we're gonna call this short, literally, we're gonna call this a short day from a short fella. All right, I appreciate everybody watching. I just got this iPhone 14, so I don't want it to get ruined or anything. So I gotta cut this short, folks. I gotta round these balls up. And I gotta go back to the house and make my wife dinner, because she's doing good at her new job, and I'm proud of her. And I just want to tell you, that's my wife is a prime example of women being able to play these sports, because my wife can shoot a basketball better than any guy I know, and it's fun playing against people like that. And I do want to play, I want to play against, or have this guy as my partner and play a set or two with this dude from Intuitive Tennis. He's such a nice person, and reminds me of my best friend in school, Darren Farmer, which was a huge man, 6'6", 6'7" range, and we were doubles partners, and it was so fun hanging out with him. He was my best friend. His parents were super rich, and you wouldn't even know that he come from that kind of money. And I just grew up as a regular person working a job, and my mom the same way. But we had a nice house in Morro by the Sea when I was growing up. So I'm grateful for that. So I'm gonna cut it short, folks. We'll come back out here again, and we'll do some more training and do different things. And I'll get your input, okay? So, good God, man, everything's getting soaked. I appreciate everybody watching. I gotta get my rackets covered up here and get these tennis balls off the court. And I'm working on getting a ball machine. Now, if I could get myself a ball machine, folks, it's literally game on. I will have my strokes back in no time. My timing will be better, but as I say, my back is whacked. It is pretty bad. I got my MRI report, which I'll share with you guys later on. So God bless everybody. Thank you for watching, and I truly appreciate your support. But keep in mind, I'm a disabled person and I'm not making excuses. I'm going to take things gradually because there's only so much I can do. And after I do these tennis things, my legs, and even before I do that, my legs are in so much pain. I get so many cramps that I've been taking flaxseed and mustard seed, grinded up to help me with that. So keep me in your prayers, folks, and I'll do the same for you. And just remember, God loves you. He made you in his image and likeness, and nobody could ever take that away from you. You are a special person, and you can do anything that you put your mind to. Just keep that in mind, folks.